How can you help prevent rear-end collisions? A. Avoid sudden stops. B. Before stopping, check your mirrors and blind spots for traffic. C. Release the gas pedal and let your vehicle slow before applying the brakes. D. All of the above. D. All of the above. Stopping suddenly can make it difficult for drivers behind you to avoid a rear-end collision. When stopping, release the accelerator to allow your vehicle to slow. Press the brake pedal by applying steady pressure, activating your brake lights and causing the vehicle to stop smoothly. When driving on roads that may be slippery. A. Always drive at the maximum speed limit. B. Use cruise control to maintain a steady speed. C. Reduce your following distance. D. Do not make any sudden changes in speed or direction. D. Do not make any sudden changes in speed or direction. You should avoid making any sudden changes in speed or direction when driving on a slippery surface. Reduce your speed on slippery roads and do not use cruise control. When parking your vehicle downhill on a two-way street. A. Turn your wheels to the right. B. Turn your wheels to the left. C. Keep your wheels pointed straight ahead. D. Leave your transmission in neutral. A. Turn your wheels to the right. When you park on a downward-facing slope, turn your wheels sharply toward the side of the road. This way, if your vehicle starts to roll downhill, it will roll away from traffic. If involved in an accident, a driver should A. Stop their vehicle at or near the scene. B. Not stand or walk in traffic lanes. C. Turn off the ignitions of wrecked vehicles. D. All of the above. D. All of the above. If you are involved in an accident, you must stop at or near the scene. Move your vehicle out of the way of traffic, if possible. Do not stand or walk in traffic lanes as you could be struck by another vehicle. Turn off the ignitions of wrecked vehicles.
Want to ace your DMV test? Click on the link below and get your guaranteed cheat sheet.
When driving in rain, you must A. Use low beam headlights. B. Use high beam headlights. C. Use parking lights. D. Use no lights. A. Use low beam headlights. In rainy conditions, you should use your low beam headlights. To avoid being in a truck or bus driver's blind spot, you should A. Never pass them. B. Avoid driving alongside them and avoid tailgating. C. Flash your lights at them. D. Sound your horn. B. Avoid driving alongside them and avoid tailgating. Because a large vehicle, such as a truck or bus, has large blind spots to its sides and rear, avoid driving alongside such a vehicle and do not tailgate one. You are driving up a hill and are approaching a heavy truck from the rear. You should know that A. The truck may be traveling at a speed slower than the posted speed limit. B. You may not be able to safely pass the truck. C. You may not be able to legally pass the truck. D. All of the above. D. All of the above. Drivers must be aware that large vehicles often travel at a speed slower than the posted speed limit, especially when driving on an incline, and should use caution when approaching a large vehicle from the rear. When on a hill with limited visibility, it is unlawful to pass another vehicle. When changing lanes you should not: A. Check your side and rear view mirrors. B. Give a turn signal to signal your intentions. C. Check for other drivers who may be moving into the same lane as you. D. Use your cell phone to contact the police to determine if the road ahead is clear. A person walking with a white cane or guide dog is likely to be: A. A deaf person. B. A person involved with a traffic study. C. A blind person. D. None of the above. C. A blind person. Drivers must always yield the right of way to a pedestrian when the pedestrian is a blind person who is using a white cane or guide dog. A pedestrian starts to cross in front of your vehicle. You should: A. Flash your lights. B. Slow down. C. Speed up and pass in front of the pedestrian. D. Stop and let the pedestrian cross. D. Stop and let the pedestrian cross. Slow down and be prepared to stop whenever you see pedestrians walking on or crossing the roadway. Be particularly careful where children are present. Always yield the right of way to a pedestrian crossing in a crosswalk. This sign is used to warn drivers: A. That the right lane ends and traffic should merge left. B. That the road curves ahead. C. About upcoming intersections. D. About road construction. A. That the right lane ends and traffic should merge left. This sign indicates that the right lane on a multi-lane roadway ends ahead. Traffic in the right lane must merge left. A point accumulation advisory letter will be sent to you if you: A. Have too many points taken off of your driving record. B. Accumulate a total of 4 points in 12 months. C. Do not score enough points on your driving test. D. Fail the written test. B. Accumulate a total of 4 points in 12 months. If you accumulate a total of 4 points within 12 months, you will be sent a point accumulation advisory letter. If you accumulate a total of 8 or more points within 18 months, your driving privileges will be suspended. This sign means: A. Roundabout ahead. B. Lane ends, merge left. C. Turn around. D. Curve ahead. A. Roundabout ahead. This sign indicates that a roundabout is ahead. Enter a roundabout at a low speed and yield to existing traffic. When entering a highway from an entrance ramp, you should generally: A. Enter above the speed of traffic to get ahead. B. Enter slowly to avoid other vehicles. C. Stop first, then slowly enter traffic. D. Accelerate to the speed of traffic. D. Accelerate to the speed of traffic. Entrance ramps for highways often have acceleration lanes. When merging with traffic from an acceleration lane, you should put your signal on, look for an opening in traffic, accelerate up to the speed of traffic, and merge into an opening in traffic. If you reach an intersection where you wish to turn but you are not in the proper lane, you should: A. Quickly cut across traffic to make your turn. B. Turn on your blinker and make the turn from your current lane. C. Drive to the next intersection and make your turn then. D. Safely change lanes then put your vehicle in reverse to go back to the intersection. C. Drive to the next intersection and make your turn then. Never make last-minute turns. If you reach an intersection where you wish to turn but you are not in the proper lane to make the turn, drive to the next intersection and then make the turn from the proper lane. Passing is prohibited. A. On hills and curves. B. At intersections. C. At railroad crossings. D. All of the above. D. All of the above. Locations where it is unlawful and unsafe to pass another vehicle include hills, curves, intersections, and railroad crossings. Crossbuck signs indicate A. Railroad crossings. B. School zones. C. No passing zones. D. Hospitals. A. Railroad crossings. Crossbuck signs tell drivers to yield to trains at a railroad crossing. Drivers should not try to outdrive a train. A red arrow displayed on a traffic light means that A. A driver must proceed slowly through the intersection. B. A driver must stop and then proceed when the way is clear. C. A driver must stop and then proceed when the signal changes to a green light or green arrow. D. A driver may turn in the direction that the red arrow is pointing. C. A driver must stop and then proceed when the signal changes to a green light or green arrow. Unless a posted sign indicates otherwise, a traffic signal displaying a red arrow means that drivers must come to a full stop and remain stopped until a green light or green arrow appears. What does a flashing yellow traffic light mean? A. Merging traffic. B. Proceed with caution. C. Pedestrian crossing. D. Come to a full stop. B. Proceed with caution. A flashing yellow traffic light indicates that you should drive with caution. This sign means A. Trucks are permitted on an upcoming narrow bridge. B. The bridge ahead is open to one-way traffic only. C. The bridge ahead is wide enough for only one car at a time. D. The bridge ahead may be too narrow to meet or pass a truck. D. The bridge ahead may be too narrow to meet or pass a truck. Warning signs are used to warn drivers about upcoming hazardous conditions and are usually yellow with black markings. This sign warns drivers that an upcoming bridge may be too narrow to meet or pass a truck and that they should be careful. The consumption of alcohol while taking drugs can A. Decrease the effects of the drugs and alcohol. B. Increase the effects of both the drugs and alcohol. C. Help cure your illness. D. Improve your driving ability. B. Increase the effects of both the drugs and alcohol. The combination of alcohol and drugs, in some cases, can increase the effects of both the drugs and alcohol. It can be unsafe to drive after consuming either alcohol or drugs and is even more dangerous after combining them. Before changing lanes on a multi-lane highway, you should A. Sound your horn. B. Turn on your headlights. C. Reduce your speed. D. Check your mirrors and blind spots. D. Check your mirrors and blind spots. Before changing lanes, you should look in your rear view and side mirrors to make sure no one is trying to pass you. You should also look over your shoulder to make sure that no one is in your blind spot. When encountering an aggressive driver, you should A. Avoid eye contact, slow down, and let them pass. B. Cut them off to slow them down. C. Retaliate by tailgating them. D. Make sure they know you disapprove of their behavior. A. Avoid eye contact, slow down, and let them pass. If another driver is threatening you or intentionally driving dangerously around you, remain calm and try to put as much distance between the two of you as possible. Slow down and let them pass. Do not make eye contact and do not make obscene gestures. A red flashing traffic light has the same meaning as A. Solid red light. B. Stop sign. C. Yield sign. D. Caution sign. B. Stop sign. A red flashing traffic signal has the same meaning as a stop sign. When approaching a red flashing signal, come to a complete stop and proceed when it is safe to do so. A stop sign may sometimes also be posted where this signal is located. If a vehicle using high beams comes toward you, you should look toward. Fill in the blank. Of the road. A. Either side. B. The center. C. The right side. D. The left side. C. The right side. If a vehicle approaching you is using its high beams and fails to dim them, you should glance toward the right side of the road. This will keep you from being blinded by the other vehicle's headlights and will allow you to see well enough to stay on your course until the vehicle passes.